I'll let you know when I'm You may begin.
All right. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the first PAX meeting of 2021. Let's call this meeting to order at 4:02 p.m. on the 28th of January. For the Pledge of Allegiance today, we'd appreciate it if Commissioner Frager would lead us.
Okay, sounds good. Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Frager. Item number 3 is roll call.
Chair Erickson,
I'm here.
Vice Chair McNabb,
Present.
Commissioner DeSico. I show him as not here yet, so I'll record him as absent for now. Commissioner Rutherford,
Present.
Commissioner Fay. I'm gonna mark Commissioner Fay as absent. She notified us earlier that she may not be here, so she's absent. Commissioner Ashendorf,
Present.
Commissioner Frager.
Present.
Thank you. I show Commissioner Fay and Commissioner DeSico absent at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Green. Item number 4 on the agenda today is the approval of minutes from October 22nd, 2020. I'll move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a second from Commissioner Ashendorf. Any questions, comments, or shall we call for the question? All right, let's call for the question.
Okay. Chair Erickson,
Aye.
Vice Chair McNabb,
Aye.
Commissioner Ashendorf,
Aye.
Commissioner Rutherford,
Aye.
Commissioner Frager.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0 with 2 commissioners absent.
Thank you. Now for item number 5, public comments. Anyone from the public in attendance to comment?
I have one show of a hand. Let me, do I allow him to talk? It's John DeBrott. Mr. DeBrott, would you like to make any public comment on any agenda item not on the agenda?
We're not hearing the speaker if he is speaking, but once again, this is for public comment on items not listed on the agenda.
All right.
Mr. DeBrott?
Apparently my microphone. Can you hear me?
I think we heard you, yes.
Okay, yeah, it's on the agenda, so I lowered my hand. Sorry about that.
Oh, thank
Okay.
you.
All right, is anyone else from the public wanting to make a comment?
I don't see any hands, Commissioner, Chair Erickson.
Okay, well, with that, we'll close the public comment portion of the meeting. Item number 6 is commissioner comments. Comments limited to 3 minutes or as otherwise directed. Let's go alphabetically, starting with Commissioner Ashendorf.
Thank you, Chair Erickson. First of all, it's Happy New Year to everyone. It's good to be back and good to see all of you and back into business. I'd first like to acknowledge the Costa Mesa Senior Center staff for coordinating a wealth of partnerships in efforts to secure meals for our homebound seniors and for pickup meals during the last quarter, and also for the several thousand phone calls that staff made over the last quarter to those members who are not able to attend the senior center or their activities in person at this time. Also would like to share that I was able to thank Chair Erickson in a newsletter article that I wrote for the Chronicle, but I'd like to publicly thank Chair Erickson and his wife, Michelle, and her efforts of leading the PTA at Victoria for writing cards for over 150 seniors for the holidays, and that was much appreciated. So please, thank you very much, and go Victoria. What a great school. For staff, I was wondering if we're going to be agendizing in February the park assignments, given the reconfiguration of the commission. That's something that I was interested in. Also, we mentioned at the October meeting that we would be hearing an update on the Fairview Park Steering Committee, so perhaps that will be coming in the near future. I drove by Perez Park recently, and it looks like it's almost ready to open. It really is a beautiful addition to the neighborhood. And finally, I'd like to just say to staff, city council, and the public that I hope we continue to move forward to ensure that those most at risk, our elderly, the homebound, are able to receive the vaccines that they need. And so mask up and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Moving on, let's have Commissioner Frager take the floor.
Thank you, Chair Erickson. I just wanted to give a quick update on a few of our local arts nonprofits. The Segerstrom Center has musical theater classes running soon. Registration will open for classes that start on February 9th for a 5-class virtual series in musical theater, and those are for ages 9 through 18. And they've also been holding dance and fitness classes out on the Argyros Plaza, so that's been a great time for the community members around here to get together and move together. Pacific Chorale has been running their Pacific Chorale Academy for their elementary school age children, and that's running until mid-March. And they're thrilled to be singing together again online. It's a virtual program as well. And some of them are even doing some songwriting of their very own. And then Pacific Symphony's Arts Express program has been holding monthly workshops for middle school students. Some of these students, they're reuniting from last summer. So they built their relationships with each other last summer, and they're continuing to explore the arts together online every month. And Pacific Symphony's Class Act program, their elementary school program, will be up and running soon virtually in schools all across Orange County, including at the aforementioned Victoria Elementary. So, and Victoria Elementary is one of the original Class Act schools. So it's going to be going on its 26th year in the program. So we love Victoria Elementary for that as well. And the Symphony is also excited to be looking at how to get our musicians out in the community again safely. So we're underway with lots of plans regarding live music performances, hopefully soon. And then I just wanted to quickly say goodbye and thank you. I've served the first term as the first arts commissioner here in Costa Mesa, and I'm excited to feel all the energy around the art, where the arts are going here in Costa Mesa. And I've just been so grateful for all the learning in the areas of local government, and just truly for all of you guys showing me what a great city Costa Mesa is. I became an arts administrator here, so it holds a very special place in my heart. I'll be moving down to Oceanside, and there's a lot of artistic activities going down there as well. So I'm definitely taking a lot of what I learned here with a full and grateful heart. And I'm just excited to definitely follow where things are going here. And I'm just a phone call, a text, or email away from all of you. And yeah, I just wanted to thank you and say goodbye, but not for long.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner, for all of your help and your service. Best of luck. With that, we'll move on to Vice Chair McNabb.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the commission meeting. And I would like to just take the opportunity to say thank you to Commissioner Frager for your service over these last couple of years. It was really a pleasure to serve with you. Everything that you brought to the commission from the arts perspective was always so important to know, and we really appreciate your dedication to the city and the community at large as it relates to being on this commission and the arts specifically. So thank you very much. And then I would also like to thank the senior center staff as well as the community services staff. On January 14th, we held a blood drive that resulted in 42 units of blood, which helps hundreds of patients in local hospitals. So that was a very successful partnership with Mayor Foley, Assemblywoman Petrie Norris, and the city of Costa Mesa. And we also have, it was such a big success that we've already scheduled another blood drive for March 18th. So if you're interested in signing up, you can go to redcross.com and get a slot available. It sold out more than 2 weeks before it was happening. So that was a big success. And also mentioning Perez Park, it is very fun to drive by there on my way to work. I see it and it's taking shape so well, and we're very excited about that opening up. And I think it'll be great for that part of the city, especially for the young kids. The equipment looks especially fun. So that's an exciting upcoming event. And then also I think that the community at large probably has the understanding that the Orange County Fairgrounds will be eventually used as a vaccination site, which I think is going to be really particularly beneficial for our city. I did have the opportunity to go to the Disneyland site on Monday, and they've got that site up and running quite smoothly now. It was impressive. It was quick. And so I am definitely looking forward to when we firm up the date to have that service for the residents of Costa Mesa and the surrounding cities. And then one thing that I would just like to inquire with staff about is, we've had quite a lot of interest from groups and individuals that would like to get permits to use the parks for classes, considering all of our classes are not available right now. And so I know that there are some yoga instructors and other groups that, are really interested in, since we may not be able to get back to having indoor activities until at least the second half of the year. I think it would be beneficial to try to work with some of these community members who can provide some really positive services for people to do outside and would be helpful to people's mental health. So those are my comments. Thank you. And turn it back over to Chair Erickson. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Vice Chair McNabb. Commissioner Rutherford, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair Erickson. I just wanted to second what was already said. It's been a huge honor to serve with all of you on this commission and to learn and work with the city staff. So I'm very grateful for that opportunity and grateful that all of you have contributed and continue to contribute so much to our city. I wanted to say we did it. We persevered through another stay-at-home order. And I really continue to be impressed and grateful for the remarkable pivot that the department has been able to make in response to COVID-19. So a special thanks to Director Mentor and all of city staff and your team. I wanted to second what Commissioner Ashendorf said. It's been an incredible effort to assist families in the city during this time, especially our seniors. The thousands of meals and the food boxes that have been distributed to those in need, the thousands of wellness check calls. It's a really commendable effort that's being made by everyone at City Hall. And I love how creative, the staff has been with different programming to keep meeting resident needs. Just to name a few, the virtual story times, the online contests. There's all these classes happening over Zoom still that I can't keep up with. And the holiday programming that happened with Power of One Foundation. I know A lot of us love the Winter Wonderland show, the toy drive. So I'm grateful that so many of you are working to keep the spirit of community alive during what has been a really hard past few months, especially the month of January. It was a tough month. Vice Chair McNabb, want to second what you said. On a personal note, I really want to express my strong support for anything that can be done to accelerate negotiations with the local sports leagues or any other interested groups to get more agreements in place. And because I think a lot of folks want to have those safe outdoor recreation opportunities during COVID. And then I saw that there's a virtual ribbon cutting in the works for Perez Park, as you folks already mentioned. So I'm very excited for that. And I do appreciate the work of city staff and everybody that's been involved. So thanks again. It's been great to serve with you all. And back to you, Jim.
All right. Thank you so much, Commissioner Rutherford, and thank you for your service too. I imagine it's not goodbye, but just so long for now. My comments will hopefully be brief, just a few. I was out Tuesday night near Fairview Park. I was trying this new thing they call running. It went okay. I was on Placentia at about 7:15, and the gate was open to the main gate at Fairview. So for being a park that is of special significance and a park that's supposedly closed at night, that seemed odd. So I just wanted to bring that up. That was 2 days ago, Tuesday. I'd also love to hear from staff on any plans or lack thereof to put a bike rack in Fairview Park. It's a very popular park for cyclists, and it's the only park I can think of that doesn't have a bike rack in it. So if there's any follow-up that can be done there, I'd appreciate it. Going through the PD report, which I appreciate. Thank you so much to the staff for compiling those again. There was quite a recurring need for service in Talbert, which is something we should all be aware of. It's an OC park, Orange County Park, but we're responsible for handling some of the enforcement there. So it's an interesting relationship that I'm sure we can continue to develop. I'd also like to know if there's anything that has been done on the joint use agreement between the city and the Newport Mesa Unified School District with respect to park, well, we call them fields and campus usage. My fear is that as we move into less restrictive tiers and we may have a need for those spaces on campuses, that we may not have an agreement in place, and then therefore we can't use the space. I know that a lot of local youth sports leagues can actually conduct a season without use of the city and Newport Mesa facilities. So it's an important conversation for all the kids in the city. And I hope that there's something going on in the background so that when the time is right, the infrastructure is in place. That was all really. It's also so long for me. I really appreciated having a chance to contribute here with this body. And I've applied to serve on some other committees within the city. So hopefully I can continue to serve in whatever capacity is deemed necessary. And I really appreciate everybody here who takes the time and puts the work in and learns how it is that our city works and how our parks work, and hopefully encourages others to do the same. So thank you to everybody. And with that, I'll close item 6, commissioner comments. Let's see. Item 7 is the consent calendar. There are no consent calendar items, so we'll move along with that. Item 8 is old business. There are also no old business items. And then item number 9 is new business. We have 3, a few items here. So 9A is a tree removal request at 1777 Bahama Place, and I'll let staff take it from here.
Thank you. Am I able to share my screen? Let's see.
I hope so.
Yes, I believe so. Yes. Yeah, you're
Everybody,
right.
we're good?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Good evening, Chair Erickson, Vice Chair McNabb, and Commissioners. The first item before you is a request for the removal of 2 trees at 1777 Bahama Place. Maintenance Services Department was contacted by the applicant requesting the removal of 2 fern pines located in the parkway in front of 1777 Bahama Place. The applicant at the time reported lifting to the sidewalk adjacent to the trees, as well as damage to a planter and a small planter wall located on the residential side of the sidewalk. The city arborist inspected the trees and found no justification for removal at staff level. The applicant was notified of these findings and requested that the tree be presented to the PAX Commission for consideration as a Category 3 discretionary removal. And that is what is before you this evening.
Thank you very much.
The trees were inspected on July 23rd, 2020. They're 30 to 45 feet in height. They're healthy, pest-free, in good condition. You'll notice that the tree closest to the driveway of the residence does have a slight lean. The lean is corrected as it grows up and does not appear to be an issue. There's plenty of supportive roots growing in the opposite direction of the lean. They're growing in a 5-foot parkway and surrounded by synthetic turf. They were last maintained on July 10th, 2018, which is well within our 3 to 5 year maintenance period for frequency. During the inspection, several cracks or lifts to the city sidewalk were noted. Street staff was addressed right away to take care of those cracks. They did perform 5 grinds measuring from 1/4 inch to 1 inch in order to eliminate the lifts. And the grinds appear to be holding 6 months later, as you can see in these photos. So there's no issues with the sidewalk for trip hazards. At the time, there were also several small cracks, the private property curbing and planter wall. These are representative. The picture on your left, there's a few more similar cracks closer to the driveway. And then on the right is the small planter wall. These are directly across from the trees. So the city-owned trees being requested for removal are located in the public right-of-way. They're in good condition. They've been maintained on a regular schedule. Sidewalk lifts were addressed by city staff, and they don't appear to be creating any significant exposure for liability to the city at this time. The trees do not meet the criteria for Category 1 health and safety removal. Therefore, it is recommended that the commission deny the request to remove these trees. That concludes this presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
And I'll put that to the commission. Commissioners, are there any questions of Mr. Ryan?
Just to thank you for the good presentation.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Before further discussion, I should ask if anyone on the, is in attendance from the public wants to speak on this item.
We have 2 hands. Let me, yes, Alyssa Jabrat, I'm going to allow it to talk now.
Okay.
Great. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello. Thank you for inviting us today and allowing us to speak on our behalf. So this is our property at Bahama Place. I think my husband has his hand up too, so he can say his bit. First of all, I will say we would love trees, and we wish there were more trees even on our street. But these 2 in particular have caused damage, and what you may not see is that on the presentation, that white wall is a new, brand new planter that we had put in place last year in 2019, and it's already starting to crack. And then interior to our wall, we have a pool just on the other side of that front wall. And when we redid that at the same time, we were told that there was invasive roots coming across and that it could be a risk to our pool. So we cut those roots at the time. We are just worried about how invasive the roots of this tree is for our property. So it's not just the sidewalk piece. And we would like to be able to put in trees that have, so we want to replace them. We don't just want them removed, but we would like the opportunity to replace them with something that perhaps has a less invasive root system. That's all I really wanted to say. Thank you again.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to speak on the item?
I have John DeBrot. Would you like to speak?
Thanks for taking the time to hear us, guys. No, I think Alyssa kind of covered everything. We're just concerned about the rifts. We do love the trees and wish there were more on our street, like Alyssa said. So it just comes down to just the invasive root system. And good to see you, Jim.
See you too, John.
Thank
Well,
you.
see your name at least.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then I have a Manfred Freeberger. Would you like to speak? Mr. Freeberger? Okay, apparently he does not want to speak.
All right.
He may be speaking to the next item.
Sorry. I'm truly sorry. Bottom left corner, microphone was muted. Sorry.
Did you want to speak on the item regarding 1777 Bahama Place?
No, 877 Sonora.
Oh, okay. That's the next item. We're not there yet, so I will
Okay,
take you.
apologize. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. So I have a question of Mr. Ryan for this item. Is there an opportunity to do any root pruning or remediation without removing the tree that would, help mitigate the risk of damage at the property?
Commissioner Erickson, not in this case, unfortunately. Due to the lean of the one specific tree, it would not be recommended at this time.
Okay. Yes, Commissioner Ashendorf.
Just a couple quick questions. Was the synthetic turf put in by the owner, or is that something the city did?
That would have been done by the homeowner.
Okay. Another question is that in the report, it says that the tree was last trimmed in July of 2018. Could you respond to when the next trimming would be of that tree, for those trees?
Our typical trimming cycle is 3 to 5 years at this point. So theoretically, anytime between now and 2023.
And one other quick question. If you look at one of the images that shows the homeowner's wall, not the lower planter that has been installed, but you can see a couple of large trees on the other side of the property, one being a tall palm tree. And it looks like that is giving cause to some movement to the property owner's wall. Is that correct? At least that's what I saw when I visited the site.
It is possible that could be from a palm tree. When it comes to tree roots and the movement of walls and structures, it's very difficult to determine. It could be also just typical soil expansion and retraction.
Okay.
Does
Thank
that
you.
Okay, that concludes your questions. Thank you, Commissioner.
And if I may ask Mr. Ryan, the fern pine trees, are they on the approved tree plant palette list that we are looking at adopting moving forward, or is that a tree that is likely to come off that approved list? Do you know?
That list hasn't been finalized. I believe they will remain on the approved list.
It will remain, okay. Thank you.
Can I speak to that for a second? Because Jim Ortiz actually told us if we did remove, we couldn't put the same tree in because it's no longer on the approved list as of right now, but that may be incorrect information.
The list hasn't been approved at this time, so it's possible it's on a proposed list, but that hasn't gone through the vetting process and been officially approved.
Are there any other questions or comments from the commission? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
Jim, can I move to approve the staff recommendation?
You can. Is there, I'm sorry. Commissioner Ashendorf, was that you?
Yes,
Okay.
that's a second.
We have a second from Commissioner Ashendorf. We have a motion from Commissioner Rutherford. I would like to discuss the opportunity as if it were a Category 3 removal. To me, it gives the homeowner an opportunity to not only take on the financial burden of removing the trees, but also replacing them at a 3-to-1 ratio. I think that's something that could be considered. And that's why I'm not going to be, moving forward with an eye on this vote. But we have a motion, we have a second, and we should call for a question.
Okay, Chair Erickson,
No.
Vice Chair McNabb,
Aye.
Commissioner Ashendorf,
Aye.
Commissioner DeSico is still absent. Commissioner Fay is still absent. Commissioner Frager,
No, considering what Chair Erickson was mentioning.
Commissioner Rutherford.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries 3-2 with 2 commissioners absent.
Thank you, Ms. Green.
Commissioner or Chair Erickson, perhaps we want to inform the homeowners that in 12 months' time they are eligible
Yes.
to come back with the request. Okay.
Yes. Thank you for the prompt. But yes, that is the case. This case for tree removal can be revisited in 12 months' time. We appreciate you both being on the call with us today, and appreciate your interest in trees in the city. So thank you for being here.
Can I ask a quick follow-up question? Is that allowed?
I believe so.
Okay, thanks. So Jim, you mentioned that the homeowner may be allowed to, and I'm sorry, I've never done one of these before, so I don't know how the procedure works. So you mentioned that we may be able to take on the financial burden of replacing the 3-to-1. I noticed that was indicated in the report as well. Is that available to us, or did that get voted down and I missed it?
It's been voted down at this time, but if this issue still interests you within 12 months, you can bring it up again to the city and have your case re-examined at that time.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Okay, thank you all for your input on this item. With that, I'd like to move on to item B, 9B, which is a tree removal request at 877 Sonora Road.
Thank you, Chair Erickson. The Maintenance Services Department was contacted by the applicant requesting the removal of a Brisbane box tree located in the parkway in front of 877 Sonora Road. The applicant reported the tree was not being properly maintained, which was leading to an excessive amount of leaf litter and seed drop on his property and vehicles that were parked under the tree. The city arborist did inspect the tree and found no justification for removal at staff level. The applicant was notified of these findings and requested the tree be presented to the PAX Commission for consideration as a Category 3 discretionary removal. The tree was inspected on November 10th, 2020. It's 30 to 45 feet in height and growing in approximately a 5-foot parkway. The tree is healthy, pest-free, and in good condition. It was last maintained on October 21st, 2015, which is a little bit out of our preferred 3 to 5 year window of maintenance. But as you can see from the tree, it's not overly large and there's not a lot of overgrowth on the tree. At the time of the inspection, there was no significant leaf, seed, or flower debris. Even the photos I think that were showed by the applicant, they showed some tree debris, but not it didn't indicate an unusual amount given this type of tree. The tree being requested for removal is located in the public right of way. It is in good condition, has been maintained on a regular schedule. It does not appear to be producing an unusual amount of leaf litter for this type of tree. The tree does not meet the criteria required for staff approval. Therefore, it's recommended that the commission deny the request to remove the tree. And that concludes that presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, sir. And before we move to that portion with commissioner comment, I wonder if anyone from the public wishes to speak on this issue.
I have one attendee, Manfred Freeberger. Mr. Freeberger, if you'd like to speak.
Yeah, just a few words. You probably read the report and you just saw the pictures, not so much the leaves, it's just a permanent drop of these small little dots. I don't know how they call them. But it's on a permanent basis. It's not a timely thing or a month or something. This is a permanent problem that we have since many years. It drops on the cars, it drops on the driveways. Yes, okay, the amount, but the amount is that the cars are dirty and we have to clean the sidewalk, we have to clean the lawn and wash almost the cars on an ongoing basis. So the point is, and that's why I wanted to say a few words, that now at the age of 68 and retired, me and my wife just can't do the cleaning anymore on a permanent basis. And our stretch and all of this Sonora Road on that side is the most dirtiest of all. And as hard as it sounds, but it's a reality. And we can't just leave it on the floor. That's my personal approach to this. And that's all I want to say.
Thank you for your comments, sir. With this, I'll turn it to the commission for any questions or comments of staff. Vice Chair McNabb.
Is there a way that we can get the pruning scheduled to see if it can assist in the seed dropping mitigation?
Vice Chair McNabb, the pruning would have to coincide with the drop of the flowers. I believe what the applicant is referring to is probably the seed pods from the flowering of the tree. So the timing would be an issue in that case, and then it would theoretically have to do it on an annual basis. It's not a very feasible endeavor for the city.
And given that it is a little outside the time frame of when it has last been on the schedule, will that be coming up in the next few months, or when would you anticipate the tree will be pruned again? Or trimmed, I guess, sorry, not pruned, trimmed.
I would anticipate within probably the next 6 to 8 months. Given the size of the tree and the shape of the tree at this time, it's not needed for maintenance purposes or health purposes, but we can definitely look into scheduling that.
Am I allowed to say something again?
Yes.
Understand when Mr. Ortiz was out here, he asked me, how about the seasonal drop? When is it? And I told him, and we can support that. It's not a seasonal drop. It's a permanent drop. And his response was, yeah, there's a small species of these trees who actually do it. And that's the problem. If it would have been just a season or something, yeah, okay, we clean it. But you have that on a daily basis, more or less, of course. But this must be one of those trees who is rare or something like that, who permanently drops it on the floor. Sad as it sounds, that's how it is. Sorry.
All right, thank you. I have a question for Mr. Ryan. What has the schedule been like for the rest of the trees on that block? And do other trees on that block exhibit the same issue?
The schedule would be the same. Typically, we're trimming trees by blocks, by streets. So the schedule would be the same. We have not received any complaints from any other residents. Doesn't necessarily mean they're not having the same issues, but in my inspection, I didn't see any leaf litter, seed pod, or any type of debris on any of the sidewalks. And I believe when Mr. Ortiz was out there, he took a few photographs, and there was none indicated in his photographs either.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Are there any other comments or questions? I see that Commissioner Rutherford's unmuted.
Yeah, Chair Erickson, thank you again, Mr. Ryan, for the detailed presentation. I just wanted to, express from me personally that trees, especially healthy trees like this one and the tree in the last presentation, they're really invaluable pieces of the green infrastructure in our city, and to preserve for future generations. So I would be against killing a fully healthy tree, a fully grown healthy tree, unless it's absolutely necessary. And I appreciate that staff has been proactive, maintaining the trees, trimming the trees, taking care of the sidewalks, making sure, the neighborhood is safe. So there doesn't seem to be anything that concerns me about this particular tree. I've actually walked the street several times. I used to run kind of that route on a regular basis in the mornings. So I wanted to make a motion, but I'll defer to fellow commissioners if you want to say anything first.
Well, I think that will close the question and comment portion. Is there a motion on the floor?
Move to approve the staff recommendation.
Okay. Do we hear a second?
I'll second Liz, Vice Chair McNabb.
Thank you, Vice Chair McNabb. We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Rutherford, a second from Vice Chair McNabb. Any further discussion? All right, we'll call for the question.
Chair Erickson,
Aye.
Vice Chair McNabb,
Aye.
Commissioner Ashendorf,
Aye.
Commissioner DeSico is still absent. Commissioner Fay is still absent. Commissioner Frager,
Aye.
Commissioner Rutherford.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-2 with 2 commissioners absent.
Thank you. And as it is with the previous applicant, this applicant may revisit the issue in 12 months' time with the city. I would also like to add that since this street seems to be at the end of its 5-year cycle, we do place a priority on trimming those trees, all of them on the street in one fell swoop within the next 12 months. And with that, let's move to the final tree removal of the evening. Tree removal request 297 Rose Lane.
Thank you, Chair Erickson. Again, Maintenance Services Department was contacted by the applicant requesting the removal of a Canary Island pine tree located in the parkway in front of 297 Rose Lane. The applicant reported that tree roots were lifting the concrete surrounding the tree. Street maintenance staff was notified and inspected the area the same day. Staff found no lifts to the city sidewalk. City arborist inspected the tree and found no justification for removal at staff level. The applicant was notified of these findings and requested that the tree be presented to the PAX Commission for consideration as a Category 3 discretionary removal. The tree was inspected on October 28, 2020. It's approximately 45 feet in height and growing in a 5-foot parkway. The tree is healthy, pest-free, and in good condition. It was last maintained on August 10th, 2018, so that's within our preferred maintenance schedule. There were no lifts to the city-owned sidewalk at the time of inspection. The base of the tree is lined with decorative bricks, as you can see in both pictures, and the concrete panels are on either side of the tree. There was significant lifting of both the concrete panels and the decorative bricks. The concrete panels and decorative bricks are listed as unacceptable materials for parkways per the city's streetscape and medium development standards. Any maintenance and repairs to the parkway, with the exception of the city maintained tree, is the responsibility of the homeowner. The city-owned tree being requested for removal is located in the public right-of-way. It's in good condition, has been maintained on a regular schedule, is not currently causing a lift to the city sidewalk, and does not appear to be creating a significant exposure to liability for the city. Tree does not meet the criteria required for staff approval. Therefore, it is recommended that the commission deny the request to remove the tree. And that concludes the presentation for 297 Rose Lane. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. I'll ask if Ms. Green, is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on this item?
Yes, I have one hand showing. Matt Lloyd. I'm going to go ahead and allow Mr. Lloyd to talk. Mr. Lloyd, you're muted if you'd like to unmute. There you go.
Good evening, guys. I appreciate you guys taking the time here, and I apologize. I just received this notification from the city. I'll just trying to go through quickly here. So I understand Mr. Ryan stated that the uplifting of the sidewalk is not the responsibility of the city. The planner, obviously, I assume now is my responsibility, but I'm curious as to what Mr. Ryan's comments would be as it relates to the sidewalk or the slab that obviously is lifted adjacent to those to that planner.
Okay, thank you for your comments, sir. Mr. Ryan, do you wish to address the comment? It seems to me we were talking about the parkway slab, if we will. So perhaps you could clarify that, Mr. Ryan.
Commissioner Erickson, you're correct. The lifted part is the parkway slab. There are no lifts to the city-owned sidewalk. The sidewalk would be the city's responsibility. That slab of concrete that is poured in between the city-owned sidewalk and the street would be the responsibility of the property owner.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ryan. I'd like to open it up for questions or comments from the commission. Ms. Ashendorf?
Yes, thank you, Chair Erickson. Just two comments. One is that it appears that walking the neighborhood, there are probably at least 8 or 9 of those canary pines. It's pretty typical for that part of town, that street in particular, and they're all about the same height and look to be the same in the same health. The only concern I had was that this particular in front of this home, it looks like it's growing above the power line. Is that typical? That looks a little bit problematic. Not looking at the sidewalk and everything else, but I'm looking at the height.
Commissioner Ashendorf, more than likely those lines you're seeing are probably communication lines and not an issue. Typically, okay. Southern California Edison will come through and basically chop any tree that's interfering with their lines.
Thank you.
I have a question for Mr. Ryan on the slab, the brick. Obviously, that is unapproved as a method for parkway maintenance and decoration, if you will. Is that something for which the homeowners have to go under review when they're re-landscaping that space? Or does this generally happen as a result of a landscaper, a homeowner landscaping in a way they didn't know was right, and then we find out about it later? Is there any proactive education to keep stuff like this from happening?
It's more likely the latter of those two, Commissioner Erickson. But there are, we do have the streetscape and median standards that's available to the public. They're available on the city website. So they are available to the public, but my guess is it's someone that came along and thought it would be a great idea and just went ahead and did it.
Got it. Thank you.
If I may, again, this is Matt Lloyd. I'm sorry, I'm the homeowner.
Mr. Lloyd?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I apologize. Yeah. So Understood. I'm going to have this removed. So if I were to have this removed, do I have to go to the city for, as it relates to the bricks around surrounding the planter, would I have to go to the city for approval for that removal, or is that something that I can do on my own accord?
Can anyone on the staff guide that?
I believe you should be able to do that on your own.
Okay. Okay, and then as it relates to that slab of concrete, then I just have to get that leveled. And is there any city required companies that I have to go through, or can I get that done by any private company?
The only thing that's permitted within a parkway such as that would be a 4-foot wide walkway between the street and the residence. So in other words, that concrete slab is an unacceptable material to be used in the parkway.
Okay, I'm a little bit confused, and obviously I don't want to take up the commission's time. Is there a way for me to speak with you, Mr. Ryan, offline, or is that not allowed?
Absolutely.
Okay, and I'm assuming your contact information is on the city of Costa Mesa website.
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. I appreciate it. I'd like to rescind this request. I'm sure you guys have to vote on it regardless, but I've learned a lot here as it relates to what my responsibility is. So I appreciate your time and apologize for wasting it.
Well, thank
All
you.
right, sir.
I would like to make a motion to approve the staff report.
And I'll second that. Okay, seeing no need for discussion, we'll call for a question.
Chair Erickson,
Aye.
Vice Chair McNabb,
Aye.
Commissioner Ashendorf,
Aye.
Commissioner Frager,
Aye.
Commissioner Rutherford.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-2 with Commissioner DeSico and Commissioner Fay still absent.
All right. Thank you. And with that, we'll move to item 10 on the agenda, the Park Ranger monthly report for October, November, and December of 2020.
Thank you very much, Chair Erickson. Happy New Year to everybody. I feel like I haven't talked during the formal part of the meeting so far, and you know I can talk. So the Park Ranger report, I apologize for not having this necessarily at the previous meeting. We did a lot of research, and I apologize kind of for the growing pains that I've experienced here in the department. In a way, it's hard to believe that it's already been more than 6 months, going on 7, but it's also been such a flash, and I feel like I've learned a ton. But when you as commissioners bring things to my attention, it helps me ask different questions, and then I find out that, oh, hey, the commission used to get this report on a monthly basis. So I think it's great that our Park Ranger program assembles this information for us. I have talked to the chief and the captain to make sure that we get this on a monthly basis, so they will be presented to you monthly. If there aren't any questions for anything on the report, I may have to defer. We don't have someone from the Park Ranger program on, but if you do have questions, I'll make sure I follow up with them to get answers for you. With that, I will try to answer any questions I can on the Park Ranger report.
We do have a hand up in the public.
Okay.
Is David Martinez Ibarra, did you want to speak on the Park Ranger report, Mr. Ibarra?
Yes, I did.
Thank you.
Hello. So I was looking through this report, and I saw Costa Mesa Municipal Code 4-3, which is that a bike license is required. And I saw that and thought it a bit strange. My friends also thought it was a bit strange. So I just wanted to ask, for what purpose does it exist? Following that, how is someone supposed to know about it? Is someone supposed to go through the municipal code, find Title 4 bicycles, and then see that a bicycle license is required? Because it isn't on any of the park signs in the city. I made sure I biked to Canyon, Talbot, and Fairview Parks, checked out all the signs, and I did not see CMMC 4-3 listed on their regulations. and then since it really isn't easily accessible information to find out that a bike license is required, how are the people who were cited for the bike licenses supposed to know that they needed one? And finally, I saw this and I thought to myself, well, I don't have a bicycle license. I should probably go get one just in case someone wants to cite me. So I went to the Costa Mesa Police Department. I walked in, I said, hi, I would like to get a bicycle license. And they said, I'm sorry, but we are not providing bicycle licenses at this time because of COVID-19. So how were these people who were cited for the bicycle license supposed to prevent that citation from occurring if they cannot get a bicycle license? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Staff can follow up with you, Mr. Ibarra, if you'd like to provide contact information. Unfortunately, I don't have that answer, but I think it's a great question and one that I can try to get the answer for and then share that with the commission and with yourself.
All right. Thank you, Director Minter. Are there questions from the commission on this report?
Chair Erickson, I just wanted to ask a quick question following up the excellent and thoughtful comment that was raised from Mr. Ibarra. Director Minter, I previously advocated to your predecessor and raised questions about this very same issue about citations being issued for miscellaneous things related to bicycle licensing and requirements. Just speaking personally, I've seen that used against homeless people and other populations in the city, but my understanding was that there was an education first approach being taken, and that that city rangers wouldn't be issuing these citations unless it was absolutely necessary. And then to the point that was raised, if you're not even allowed to get a bicycle license because of precautions in place due to COVID-19, this really seems like something that could be addressed to prevent anything like this from happening in the upcoming months.
Thank you for your comment, Commissioner Rutherford. Fair points all around. Any other comments or questions from the commissioners? All right. Well, seeing none, thank you, Director Minter, for pulling all this together. It is a really good look at what's going on in the parks, and it's also a good look at what actually gets cited. We all walk through parks and see things that aren't quite right. So it's a challenge to get to all of them all the time. Not an easy job in any way. But with that, I'd like to move on to, let's see, item 10B as in boy, the Parks and Community Services Director's Report.
Thank you, Chair Erickson. The report for all 3 months, we've kind of compiled it into one report for the commissioners to review. While you go through it, I was going to address some of the questions that were asked earlier, as it relates to some of the things that have been going on. Park assignments, I believe Commissioner Ashendorf asked the question. We will definitely discuss that once the new appointments are made. And currently the 5-district system with which parks are assigned will most likely go away. And each district nominated commissioner will then be responsible or be the one that coordinates activities within their specific districts is the direction that we're heading. But we'll do a more formal announcement once we have all the appointments for those. Fairview Historic, or the Harbor Soaring Society, the Fairview Steering Committee meets the 10th of February, and that in which the Harbor Soaring Society will be presenting their revised proposal. So there's been no updates since the October meeting, but we will have one February 10th. So you can tune into the Fairview Steering Committee. There will be new appointments in place. We're not sure how that's all going to play out. We will know on Tuesday, but more to come on the Harbor Soaring Society's revised proposal. Perez Park, we did mention it here in the upcoming capital projects. We're getting ready for kind of a soft opening. Our public services team and we had a meeting out on site last week to kind of go over a punch list of some of the things that we saw that still needed to be done. There are a few amenities that may not be done for a few weeks, but we are trying to get a soft opening In the meantime, we've started doing video recordings for a virtual grand opening, or a virtual ribbon cutting that would take place in an electronic format that's currently being compiled by Dane Bora and our community or our public services team. So it's exciting to see that. It was great to be out there and walk through the park. They squeeze a lot of neat little items into that area, but it's great to have a new park to be able to add to our system. Vaccinations, people talked about vaccination updates. The Costa Mesa Senior Center staff are working with representatives from the county to provide hopefully some sort of a mobile vaccination location. We've submitted an application for a date, but we don't have anything to confirm. Once we do get that date, we will be sending it out to our seniors especially. We're just not getting the number of vaccinations that we need to serve all of our residents. But we are they're trying to pilot that program, kind of do one mobile vaccination pod, at each of the different cities. And as they continue to get to be more efficient, hopefully we'll have more teams available to do these mobile vaccination sites. But we will have more information. The problem is you get the word out and, 10,000 people want vaccinations and you only have 300 to give out. You end up making, 300 people happy and 9,700 people mad. So we're trying to manage expectations at this point. We are working with a couple of organizations to see if we can't get additional vaccinations, but we are going to be targeting the 65 and over population and really focusing on the seniors that aren't very mobile. So there was that about vaccinations. We have been in talks to try to get our contract classes back up and running in our parks. And we do have a few vendors that we're working with to try to bring other classes to the parks. So stay tuned for information on that. Snoopy House was brought up. I do want to give, huge kudos to the staff, to Ashley Thomas, to Jessica Martinez. They were the two that kind of spearheaded, from our department's side, everything that had anything to do with Snoopy House, from the decorations and getting painting done, just the themes for the different rooms. It really was a great event to be a part of. We really appreciate our public services team that helped get everything over to the IKEA parking lot, that helped with the electronic side of it, making sure everything kept power the whole time. Just some of the construction upgrades that were done as well. So, I'd never experienced Snoopy House here at City Hall, but I did get a chance to see Snoopy on the road. And, one of my favorite memories was just, from that 3-day period was just watching the kids in their cars, reaching their hands out to catch the falling fake snow and just looking at all the lights and seeing Snoopy there. It really was kind of a magical evening. And I can't wait to see Snoopy House and hopefully in an even bigger format, come next December. But it was great to go through it. And then, I can't leave out the Power of One. That foundation does amazing things, not just in Costa Mesa, but, speaking with Andre, I don't know if anybody's ever met Andre. That man has more energy than I think I'll ever have. He is just such a joy to talk to. He's so uplifting, just scootering around, just whatever came up, he had answers for. What a great guy. Working with him and Shawnee just were fantastic people to work with and really made, an otherwise, bleak holiday season for, city sponsored events. It was so great to have that opportunity to share it with the community and to be a part of it. So thank you. I don't know if anybody was able to attend or to do the drive-through. I know they collected over 3,000 toys, which is amazing. And they were able to give out a bunch, on Friday. So just what a great event that was. And I think, thank you for anybody that, expressed kudos to the staff at the senior center, for our nonprofit partners that are helping with the meal distribution and the grocery deliveries. I mean, the numbers in the report, I think, are very telling of the work that senior program staff are doing to try to help the community. And, I think the city council and the leadership here in Costa Mesa, most of these things were well in place by the time I got here, but it's great to be a part of it and actually see all the food that's going out and, see the comments that come back from the residents that are just thrilled that they have opportunities for these types of programs here in our city. Commissioner Erickson talked about the bike racks at Fairview. I'll definitely bring that up with with Rob and with our public services team and follow up with you on that. As far as the Newport Mesa, for a while, they extended the closure of their fields for because of the stay-at-home order, but as of now, everything should be open and able to be permitted. The demand of applications that we've received is way down. And partly, there are organizations that aren't hosting practices because there's really no end in sight for games. So we're not getting nearly the amount of applications for use of fields. We have plenty of fields available for groups. We haven't gotten the applications for one reason or another. And I know, like, my daughter's club soccer team, enrollments are way down, so they're mixing teams together and they're trying to be resourceful. But I'm not sure, what if there's messages getting out that fields aren't available. We have city fields available and we have school district fields available. So just make sure they contact staff, and we'll get as many people on fields as possible. We are going to have some bad weather, so make sure that groups that have permits are checking the mud line. But we'll do the best we can to get people out on the fields as soon as possible. I do want to hear more about this thing called running, that Commissioner Erickson talked about, because that is I've heard, a popular activity. Other than some of the special events, we continue to have high numbers at the pool for lap swimming. So, Kevin and his team are busy trying to find ways to, expand swim hours. We're dividing times and making sessions shorter so that we can get more people in and through the pool, just because we're kind of bursting at the seams with people that don't have access to pools. Let's see, anything else? I think on the capital project side, construction continues at Lions Park. As soon as we have a potential reopening date for that, we'll get it out to you. I'm bummed that we can't have big, grand opening events. We're trying to get ready to do a virtual ribbon cutting for the Norma Herzog Center, as well as the Perez Park. So unfortunately, it's going to have to be virtual for a while, but at least, we're not stopping as far as getting some of those projects complete. And in a couple of months, hopefully Lions Park will be ready and open for play. With that, I will try to answer any other questions that you guys have.
Thank you, Director Minter. Appreciate this. Very thorough presentation. One thing that caught my eye was under capital projects. It's a Costa Mesa Sanitary District preparing for a pump station improvement off President Place. Could you expand on how that's a city capital project? I live near there and noticed that there was signage put up in early December. It seems the project has been delayed. I'm not sure why, and I don't know how the relationship works between the city and the sanitary district.
Sure. The project doesn't necessarily take place in the park, but it does affect the public's ability to access the park from President's Place, as you mentioned. So I have spoken with Commissioner Erickson about this, and it kind of led me to asking a lot more questions about it. We did have a meeting with the contractor and the sanitation district, because they are asking for permission to use the park property for a laydown area, kind of a staging area. So right now we have some requirements that we've issued to them. In order for them to be able to do that, they have to comply with a few conditions or caveats. That's why it's kind of been delayed. I know they're asking for an actual start date, but it's kind of been delayed. We sent them some stuff before Christmas. I'm not sure where the holdup is. Public Services Department is doing most of the kind of the back and forth negotiation, but we are wanting to make sure that they don't damage the park or anything, any of the plant life, vegetation in the park when they do their laydown area. So that's about the only hang up on that. But it is a sanitation district project on the pump station that is adjacent to the property line of the park. We are going to get a slightly wider entrance point out of it. They're going to do some hard edges. And then I think the best part about it for the residents in that area, they're going to have a much more, let's just say the pump station that gets sewage from their houses is going to be a lot better. And I think that's for everybody in the neighborhood.
Okay, that's great. And I think the only thing that tripped me up was the word capital. Is the city expending funds for this?
We're not paying for any of the capital expenses, no.
Okay.
The Public Services Department is trying to manage, and do their typical engineering review, the plan review. But other than that, no resources are being expended on this part of the project.
Great.
I see Commissioner DeSico has entered the meeting.
Guess better late than never. Sorry, my business meeting went a little long today.
All right, well, welcome.
Thank you.
Are there any other? I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Director.
I did have a question, Mr. Minter, about the enrollment for youth sports you were talking about was a little bit low. Is that correct? For requesting parks?
I know what I know is we're not getting nearly as many applications as we would have, at this time last year. And there's plenty of great reasons for that. COVID reasons, requirements, parents hesitate to sign up their kids. I don't know where all the youth groups are playing, but I know we haven't gotten the number of requests that we expected to get for our field.
Right. Is it City of Costa Mesa or Park and Rec policy about the mask to be used during the activity? Could you maybe specify that? Because that was one thing I was hearing a lot of confusion about the requirements there. And then people thinking that it's not even worth it to go out there depending on the requirements with that.
The only thing that was approved for use on parks was training. It wasn't about competitions.
Correct.
It was through the stay-at-home order that was issued right before Thanksgiving. Now, as of recently, as recent as the 25th of January is when the stay-at-home order was ended. There were rules for competitions, even for the purple tier cities, of which, are the purple tier counties, that allows for competitions for certain events, right? Most of it was like tennis, things like that. There's a list that is available on the state website that says which ones of those events. One of those events is cross-country tournaments or cross-country meets, but there are conditions, caveats to doing that. Masks are supposed to be worn, I believe, is what the last requirements were. I didn't necessarily focus on whether masks were to be worn or not. We were just trying to make sure that the permit process that we had in place was correct and that the groups that wanted to use it could still do that. But I'd have to double check the mask issue.
Yeah, I think that was a large determinant for both the soccer groups and, like you mentioned, the cross-country groups that I'm in contact with. If their requirement is to wear the mask during activity, they felt like it's not worth it. In the fall, what the rule had been was wearing masks to the event, like to the facility. And then once you're in your area 6 feet apart, physically distanced, then they could take off the mask to complete. And as long as they stayed physically distant 6 feet from everyone else, they were allowed to run or, do the drills 6 feet apart without the mask. And so that was the feedback that I was getting of people saying it's not worth it if they're requiring us to wear the mask during the activity. A lot of people were concerned about the youth's ability to run, to exercise with that mask on.
Yes, and I think you're trying to default to what the state said. I pulled it up while you were talking. It says participants in youth and adult sports should wear face coverings when participating in the activity, even with heavy exertion as tolerated, both indoors and out, and so on. So
the word should doesn't mean must, correct?
Right.
So could Costa Mesa just adopt the policy of the state to say should? And just be in line with what the state is saying? Or would Costa Mesa be actually making a more restrictive policy than what the state is saying?
I can double check and see. I don't know that back in August, September, when we started doing this, that we required them to wear masks actually during play. So
they did not.
I'll have to go back and see where we're at on that. But
okay,
the word can be tricky.
Yeah, and then either way, whatever is decided, if that could be clearly communicated to all of those groups that had permits last year, just so everyone's on the same page with that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Thank you, Commissioner DeSico. Great comments. Are there any other questions or comments of Director Minter?
I did want to kind of close, if I could, with just a thank you for anyone who's an outgoing commissioner. Commissioner Frager and I have had multiple conversations about her departing, and I've only had a few meetings to get to know many of you, and there's a couple of you I've gotten a chance to talk to more frequently than others, but this is not the environment that I wanted to come into a new city and meet a bunch of commissioners was, through little TV screens. But I really appreciate what commissioners do and what they add to the community, and you guys are all, more or less volunteers that give of yourselves for the good of the community. And I've been working with commissions for years now, and everybody brings something different to the table. Everyone has a slightly different perspective. And I think having, the various, talented individuals on our commission is always very valuable to me, whether it's a manager, as a director. And so I really do appreciate you guys taking your time and the commitment that you provide to the city. And, if you guys are coming off or deciding not to reapply or doing other things, moving to other cities, whatever it might be, please know that wherever you go, it is something that's a vital contribution to our communities. So thank you for all that you do. And I really do appreciate it on behalf of our department. I know the city council is very appreciative of what you guys do. So thank you all for being commissioners. And I hope that I can continue working with you in some form or fashion, or however our paths cross.
Thank you, Director Minter. Hopefully we can all see each other in the park one day. And throw and catch a ball together.
We'll all be running, right? We'll all be running.
I'll see,
Yeah, perhaps when the stay-at-home order is lifted, we could do kind of a reunion for those of us who will have transitioned off the commission and those that are still on, so that we could at least have the opportunity to be together to celebrate the work that we did over this past year. And I would like to say thank you to Mr. Minter. You come in at a very difficult time and really have done such a great job for the city and all of our residents, and we really appreciate it. I know it's been super hard, and reading that report that you just gave just shows how hard the department works to do all these wonderful things so that Costa Mesa is such a great place to live. So thank you for everything that you are doing and continue to do on behalf of all of us and the residents here. It's been a pleasure to be on the commission these last 4 years. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments, questions from the commission? Okay. Seeing none, I will move to item 11, which is adjournment. Thank you all again for being here today. I will consider the meeting adjourned at 5:20 p.m. on the 28th and inform everyone who can hear me that the next regular meeting is February the 25th, 2021 at 4 p.m. and we'll see you on Zoom. So thanks again, everybody.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Jim. Thank you, Liz.